Tears for the tear god, salt for the salt throne, and gas the leaf tribe.
The BLM activist shouts, "Black Lives Matter." Someone responds, "All lives matter." But apparently that's just derailing the conversation and drawing attention away from perceived social inequalities, and then someone else goes, "But blue lives matter." And then, of course, no lives matter. And I thought, what could be said, you know? What could someone say? I came up with this. Just look how fucking clever I think I am. Who could claim that the statement, "your life matters," is an attempt to derail anything? Who could argue against this statement? And I've come to the realization, Black Lives Matters activists probably would. I think in a way they kind of have to. If I had the social media reach, I would love to run the hashtag Your Life Matters experiment. Less an experiment, more a 4chan style troll. If you're not familiar, 4chan was the group that organized the OK symbol being some kind of white power symbol, and people to this day believe it. They organized the plain white posters with black block lettering that say, "It's okay to be white," to see if people would be outraged about that concept. And they were. And to this day, people don't understand that they've been trolled. They don't understand how these innocuous things, and "it's okay to be white," have incensed them because they're fucking retarded. But I'd love to see this spread around and just as a response to any and all hashtag BLM, hashtag Black Lives Matter posts in a very polite and agreeable, reaffirming way. Like, yes, I 100% agree. Hashtag Your Life Matters. Because I don't think it would take long before we saw resistance, before we saw people saying, "Your life matters, yes, but," just caveat after caveat. Yes, your life matters when your life matters. If your life matters, however. But I also think that eventually, if I had that kind of reach, we could hit something like this. We could get to this kind of a person. Now, I don't know if you remember this woman. White lives don't matter as white lives. She got a promotion at a university shortly after tweeting this. I think there's supposed to be some weird academic, the collective of white lives doesn't matter as a collective, the way the collective of black lives matters as a collective. But I also think that this is the kind of fucked up academic pseudo-intellectual that would come out after all the caveats were being laid by others and say, "Your life doesn't matter," and argue hard about individual lives literally not mattering. So why not bring the idea to 4chan? Well, not my personal army. Tucker Carlson had a thing a while ago about Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter, and he said something along the lines of, Black Lives Matter precisely because all lives matter. And in my infinite cleverness, I've gone a step further. All lives matter precisely because your life matters. Your life matters. If your life doesn't matter, literally hashtag not all. And if you are black, then do Black Lives Matter? Well, hold on. Interestingly, BLM never said all Black Lives Matter. And I think all Black lives to the BLM activists don't necessarily matter. No one's ever come out and said this. But it's fairly evident in their behavior, especially when they're going around saying Black Lives Matter and, voices of color must be heard and elevated and amplified. But as soon as a person of color disagrees with them, they turn around and start shouting them down, calling them racial slurs, and just denouncing them. Because all Black lives to the BLM activists do not necessarily matter. Because for them, your life might not necessarily matter. And this is that collectivist idea that Black lives, the collective, matter. But Black lives are not just a life, not an individual. It's a group, and if you go against the group, then your life to that group no longer matters. Like ants. You ever seen one ant in a line of ants behaving badly? The other ants just turn and fuck that ant up. They literally will just pull it apart right there on the line, chuck its body to the side, and get back to work. You ever wonder why they give George Floyd so much attention, so much publicity, but not David Dorn? If you're not familiar, David Dorn was a former police captain who, during some riots, I think in Minneapolis, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but he went into the streets during the peaceful protests where people were looting and burning and killing people, to defend his friend's shop, I believe, where people were stealing televisions. And David Dorn got shot in the head for this. The common idea is that David Dorn is ignored by the media and by the BLM activists because that would shine a light on the violent nature, the rioting, the looting, and take away from the overall BLM narrative. I think it is something significantly worse. I think the collective BLM was engaging in violent rioting, looting, destruction of property, and David Dorn stood against the group and tried to stop them from doing that. And because he stood against them, David Dorn's life to that group didn't matter. And I meant it to sound corny and stupid and clever. But at the same time, it's also true. But it's not really cliche, because I don't know if you've ever said that to another person. Your life matters. I don't know if you've even ever thought it to yourself. My life matters. But it does. And, through your interactions with other people, your friends, family, complete strangers, you will have an effect on them. How big or small, for better or for worse, that's kind of up to you. But you will affect them. And you will change them. Greater or smaller, better or worse. And through those interactions, through numerous interactions, you will change the world. And that sounds stupid and corny and clever and cliche, but I think it's also true. And even if you were born at the bottom of a well and just left there, to live in your own piss and shit and have people or a person throw food down to you every day, you'd even have an effect on the person and or people that were just throwing you food. You've never seen the light of day. You never learned to speak. You just wail at the bottom of a well for food, and someone throws it down. Those people would be affected by your existence because your life matters. Infinitely clever I am.
Relevant links to shit I said in the description? Maybe. I'm Irving Twin. Like, subscribe, or don't. It's a free country. At least it used to be.